Makovic, and this is the minute. A 7-Eleven store in Oakland was robbed for a second day in a row. Happened at around midnight at Grand Avenue and Mendana Boulevard. The clerk tells us thieves smashed open the door and hit him, demanding money. The same store had its window rammed overnight yesterday. A pedestrian killed overnight on 880 in Fremont. It happened in the northbound lanes before 2 a.m. at the Stevenson Boulevard off-ramp. The CHP says the truck hit the pedestrian. No details yet on what led up to that incident. And the 49ers have made their pick. Michael Williams coming to the Bay Area. The Niners selected the Georgia edge rusher 11th overall in the first round of the NFL draft. 49ers looking to rebuild their defense and rebound from last year's 6-11 season. I'm Ann Makovic with the minutes.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
From free meals to grief support, people in the North Bay are coming together to help in any way they can after that horrific crash that killed 4 high school students.
Here's a new message here. I am gifting trauma therapy. How can I help?
Now we're going to meet the local restaurant owner who's coordinating all of it from his pizza shop. Plus, it was a rescue mission like no other 50 years ago. We sit down with the women who helped usher a flight to freedom 6 days before the fall of Saigon.
Their lives would have all been in danger if they'd stayed.
And we shared an adventure together that we'll never forget.
And we will introduce you to some tech-savvy students in the East Bay who are using their skills to help a school district facing major budget problems. Well, thanks for joining us this Friday. Of course, the weekend is almost here, so let's start with First Alert Weather. Meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking the chance of rain and another warm-up.
Well, we're gearing up for a cool and cloudy weekend all throughout the Bay Area with daytime highs below average right now. I mean, we're down into the upper 50s and lower 60s, anywhere from Santa Rosa all the way over into Napa, off into the East Bay. And for our friends in the Santa Clara Valley, it's wild to think that, gosh, it was just 5 days ago we were talking about sunny skies and 80s. Just like our friends off in the East Bay, and now we're gearing up for a chilly, cool weekend right around the corner as this area of low pressure really has been influencing the forecast the past couple days. The system will continue to track inland as we head into this weekend, and it's going to do a couple things for us. It brings in gustier conditions, more clouds. It's also the reason why we're dealing with these chilly temperatures, and it works in a counterclockwise direction. You can see that with the precipitation that we're going to experience too as we dive into this weekend's forecast. Right around the corner, we're going to see on and off showers late tonight, early tomorrow morning, lingering into our Saturday afternoon forecast, changing the direction of the winds too. And at the same time, this is also going to bring in some snow to the Sierra, anywhere up to around 15 inches expected there. It clears up as we head into our Sunday forecast, which is partly cloudy skies at that point, gearing up for a warm week night right around the corner as we head into next Monday and Tuesday. But from now until next Monday and Tuesday, we can see anywhere up to around 1/4 inch of rain in areas like Fremont, Mountain View, all the way over into the Santa Clara Valley with less impressive numbers all the way up into the North Bay too. Let's take a quick look at the next 7 days. Now we're gearing up for a cool weekend, a warm week right around the corner for the Bay. It's going to be a nice one for us as we head into next Monday and Tuesday with upper 60s and lower 70s around the corner. Now you make your way over into our inland spots, even warmer conditions, upper 70s as early as next Monday with sunny skies. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. And then as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday, we're expecting 80s right around the corner. Back to you.
A Marin County community has been coming together to help each other get through a heartbreaking tragedy. It was 1 week ago that 4 students from Archie Williams High School were killed in a car crash. 2 others were hurt. One parent says the girls were best friends. Now people are rallying to help families and friends of the victims heal and provide support that goes beyond donations. As Kenny Choi shows us, it all starts with the owner of a local pizza shop.
When Pat Townsley heard of the tragic crash that took the lives of 4 Archie Williams High School students, he immediately channeled his restaurant's website into an informational hub for his community.
I did this as a knee-jerk reaction just to get these resources out here because I knew I could.
He wanted families of the victims and anyone willing to help to have access to an easy one-stop shop website. Many have donated meals, venues for memorial services, and more through his site.
Here's a new message here. I am gifting trauma therapy. How can I help?
Reading hundreds of heartfelt messages of hope and sadness, reflecting on his own children who went to Archie Williams, and attending the vigil have been part of an emotional week.
I didn't say a word, just kept my head down and just listened and grieved and heard the tears and the stories, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah.
The bar at Creekside Pizza and Tap Room has become his office to continuously update and provide links offering help.
It's really great at clearing unwanted energies.
Leslie Mariucci, a Reiki master, found other volunteers and therapists through Townsley's website.
I would not have known where to go, despite feeling really called to want to help. I wouldn't have known where to show up or who to contact.
Sally Newson helped coordinate volunteers to gather at Camp Arequipa in Fairfax to provide a safe space for students in need of healing.
We have had over 60 volunteers, people from the community reaching out, asking, what can I do to help?
I saw the GoFundMe sites. I can't provide support financially, but I thought, I could provide support in this way.
This young lady's brother attended Archie Williams and was involved in a similar wreck years ago. She didn't want to show her face, but came to this grief support drop-in program.
I just want to come out and help in any way I can with the kids and just be there for them.
For Townsley, the work to inform and connect others continues.
We hope more people are able to come here and use this as a resource as we find out what events will be coming up, how we can further support the families, the students, the school.
It's not a new endeavor for Townsley to bring his neighbors together, but this is a tragedy he could never have imagined. He's doing his part to help.
And if you would like to help the families, we have posted Creekside's website on our website. You can find that at kpix.com. Well, it has happened 2 days in a row now in Oakland. The same 7-Eleven store ransacked by robbers. This is video from the damaged store from around 1 o'clock this morning. This is at Grand Avenue and Mendana Boulevard. A clerk we spoke with says the suspect smashed the door with a large rock and then hit him, demanding he open the cash register. Then they grabbed the money and took off. This is surveillance video from that same 7-Eleven yesterday, where police say a driver rammed the store, leaving a broken window and a big mess. In this case, the store's owner said the robbers were after the safe, but they left empty-handed. Police say an Arco station and a Shell were also hit early yesterday morning. Officers nabbed 4 suspects just a short distance away from a Shell station on High Street, and they say they found 1 stolen safe inside the car. No word on if all these robberies are connected. We've reached out to Oakland police for more information. Now, despite this robbery spree, police are touting a notable decrease in most crimes so far this year, except for homicides. They say overall crime decreased by 37% compared to the same period last year. Violent crimes decreased 33%, but the number of homicides is up 15%. A big loss for an Oakland nonprofit that works to prevent gun violence. It's called Youth Alive, and it was one of a number of crime victim groups that was notified this week by the Trump administration that it is being stripped of federal funding. The organization will be losing out on $2 million over the next 3 years. And we talked with Dr. Joe Griffin. He's the executive director of Youth Alive. He says the loss of funding means they can't be there when they are needed the most.
When someone is shot in Oakland, we're there at the hospital bedside. When a family is mourning a loved one, we're there to console them and help them through that grief process. And when our young people want to know what they can do to make their own community safer, we're there to train them. And so we play a vital role in the public safety and the public health of our community.
Dr. Griffin says the timing could not be worse because typically violence goes up during the summer months. He adds, though, that they are starting to see signs of their work making Oakland safer. So he says it is important to keep that momentum going. President Trump's tariffs are likely to affect Northern California's economy, especially when it comes to goods flowing through the Port of Oakland. The port handles almost all of the shipments by sea into the region, and goods from China add up to nearly half of those imports. Veronica Macias reports from the Port of Oakland with more on the potential impact.
Here at the Port of Oakland, they handle 99% of all the containers and shipments that are coming into Northern California. And you can see there are hundreds of containers surrounding us here, long lines of trucks coming in to pick up all the imported goods, the majority coming from Asia. Yesterday, despite the port reporting a strong first quarter with a steady growth of cargo volume, port officials, business owners, and Representative Latifah Simon, who represents California's 12th district, the East Bay, met to express concern. Now that the first quarter has closed, port officials announced a 6.3% year-over-year increase in container volume, representing a total of imports and exports. However, during the first quarter of 2025, businesses rushed to push through goods before further tariffs were enacted. The Maritime Director has said they are prepared to weather whatever comes next, but there is some nervousness with the uncertainty. Yesterday, we heard port officials and Representative Simon express serious concern over what they described as erratic moves by the administration, implementing tariffs, cutting them, delaying, and then raising tariffs again. With all these changes, we could be seeing less volume and supply at the Port of Oakland.
The added tariff is adding on to the increased price. So they have to make the hard decision as to whether they continue to offer the goods or they may not, they may have to absorb some of the costs, which is devastating to our businesses, or, they may not offer those items anymore.
You're providing now, the Trump administration, you're giving us a no-win situation where folks literally could lose their jobs. Equipment might not reach its spaces. Heart transplants may not be happening in our hospitals. This is a crisis.
A few weeks back when we were here and we spoke to the Maritime Director, he told us back in 2018, this port did well compared to others when tariffs were enacted, and that seems to be the case again this year.
California has surpassed Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world. According to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the Golden State's gross domestic product reached $4.1 billion last year. Only the U.S. in total, China and Germany have bigger economies. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. They want the world to remember their daughter as kind and selfless. The parents of a teen girl killed in a fiery Cybertruck crash speaking out for the first time.
This is a circumstance that I would hope no parent or even human would ever have to face.
Why they are now suing the family of the driver. Plus, he slept in his truck with his dog for years in San Jose. Now we're going to take you to Zachary's new home, the private partnership that made it all possible.
It's everything, man, It's everything I didn't have.
And thousands of laptops on the fritz at an East Bay school. We're going to meet the students stepping up to help.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
It's cool and cloudy as we head into this weekend's forecast, with showers on and off starting late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and kind of lingering into our Sunday forecast too. At that point, this area of low pressure is going to keep us nice and cool, sitting in the low 60s this weekend throughout the bay. We're also seeing a very similar forecast for our friends in our inland spots. But right around the corner, we're going to warm right back up into the upper 70s as early as Monday with sunny skies once that system passes through. We're seeing dry skies into next week with warmer weather up into the 80s as early as next Wednesday.
Well, the parents of a teenage girl killed in a horrific Cybertruck crash in Piedmont are speaking out for the first time. This comes as they are filing the first wrongful death lawsuit against the family of the driver. The crash happened while a group of college students was home for Thanksgiving break. A Tesla Cybertruck ran off the road and into a tree, killing 3 former Piedmont high school students. One of the passengers survived. Our Suji Nam sat down with the parents of 19-year-old Krista, who shared their memories of their daughter and explained why they are still searching for answers.
This is a circumstance that I would hope no parent or even human would ever have to face.
It's been nearly 5 months since the crash that took the life of Carl and Noelle Sukahara's 19-year-old daughter, Krista, over the Thanksgiving holiday. In that time, the couple says they failed to get answers on what exactly happened in those early morning hours.
Why did the driver have that car? Where were they before this all took place? Why did the car catch on fire? Why couldn't my daughter get out of the car?
Now the couple is taking legal action. The Sukaharas filed a wrongful death and survivors action lawsuit against the estate of the driver of that Cybertruck, 19-year-old Soren Dixon, and the owner of the Tesla, Charles Patterson, alleging negligence.
People think it's okay to withhold that information for us. And unfortunately, despite attempts, this seems like our only recourse.
Investigators say they believe speed was a factor that led to the Tesla Cybertruck crashing into a tree along Hampton Road and King Avenue in Piedmont in the early morning hours of November 27th. Sukahara, Dixon, and another passenger, 20-year-old Jack Nelson, were killed. The toxicology report shows all victims had cocaine and alcohol in their systems.
Statements that all the people were grossly intoxicated, well, her blood alcohol was 0.02.
The driver's blood alcohol level was 0.195. More than twice the legal limit for motorists and nearly 21 times the legal limit for drivers under 21 years old. The California Highway Patrol is currently investigating the Cybertruck, while Krista's parents say they've been left in the dark after requesting access to the car.
Do have a good cause of action.
Civil and criminal attorney Michael Cardoza says there may be some uphill battles with proving negligence in the wrongful death lawsuit, and that answers may not come until the discovery process.
Did the owner know that a young man under the influence was taking the keys to the car, and did he allow that to happen? That is negligent entrustment. But if the young man just walked in and took the keys without the owner knowing, that does not make the owner responsible.
The Sukaharas hope that through legal action, they will get the answers of what exactly happened before their daughter died. But for now, they're taking things day by day.
It's a Vivian Westring. All her friends know about it. I have her necklace on. I have her earrings on.
They want the world to remember Krista as talented and selfless, and that she had big dreams to live in New York and work in the fashion industry.
Thank you for making me a proud mom. You are an amazing daughter and sister.
Holding their family tight and memories of their daughter even tighter.
We have reached out to those named in the lawsuit and have not heard back. Some people who had been living on the streets in San Jose now have a safe place to sleep. A new interim housing facility opening up on San Ignacio Avenue in the southeast part of the city. Len Ramirez spoke with one man about the life-changing accommodations.
Well, it was less than a year ago that this was all just vacant land. Now, this is home for about 70 people who used to live on the streets, some of them from right here in this neighborhood. Zach Plumo and his dog Baby finally have a safe and secure place to call home after years of living on the streets of San Jose. It's the city's newest interim housing community that gives Zach a home base while he works on health issues and finding a job.
It's the world, you know. It's better. It's not just better. It's everything, man. You know, it's everything I didn't have.
Zach was one of the first to move into this 2.5-acre, 130-unit community built from scratch starting last May 1st. From breaking ground to cutting the ribbon, it all came together in 11 months.
It's a model of what's possible when we stop making excuses and start working together with urgency, with creativity, and with a sense of shared responsibility.
The project was a unique partnership between developer John Sobrato and the city of San Jose. Sobrato owns the land and leased it to the city for $1 a year for 10 years to provide the badly needed housing.
I think we all have to work together if we're going to solve this issue, and I'm delighted to have a part in that.
San Jose has been moving fast to sweep encampments and lived-in RVs along creeks in the city's streets this year. At the same time, San Jose is adding 1,400 new beds or safe parking spaces, with 3 sites opening this year, including this one, according to the city's mid-year housing report. This site has 1- and 2-person units, showers, laundry, and kitchen areas, plus counseling service. And although it's not enough to house all of those being swept, the mayor says it's giving some people a place to go, with more on the way.
And we do need to create mechanisms for holding people accountable for at least coming indoors when we're offering safe, dignified, low barrier housing. You can bring your pets.
Zach says he had been offered interim housing before, but says he wasn't ready then. He is now.
It was the dog that changed it this time. The dog, my baby.
How so?
She just gave me the drive, the motivation, the want.
I'm amazed how robust these units are. They say 15 years, but I think they're going to last 30 or 40 years.
John Sobrato was impressed with a community that was built on the land he leased for practically nothing, and says if it proves to be a success over time, there's room to expand the project on the 2.5 acres of vacant land he also owns next door.
According to the data presented by the City Council this week, San Jose has cleared out 530 encampments this year and instituted temporary RV bans in at least 30 locations. But several council members have raised concerns about whether that's ineffective use of limited city resources and if sweeps just push homeless people out of encampments and into neighborhoods. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, it was 50 years ago. The last commercial flight left Vietnam and landed in the Bay Area before the fall of Saigon 6 days later. We're going to introduce you to some of the Pan Am flight attendants from San Francisco who were on that fateful flight.
In the middle of the night, Pan Ops called me and asked me if I would volunteer to go in to Saigon on a rescue mission. And I said yes.
Why they volunteered and how many people they were able to fly to safety. And tomorrow, we're going to bring you the funeral of Pope Francis, and a CBS News special report coverage begins at 1 a.m. our time. Watch on air, streaming on the free CBS News app or on Paramount+. 50 years ago, just 6 days before the end of the Vietnam War, a daring and dramatic rescue mission flew into Saigon. On board the empty Pan Am 747, some flight attendants based out of San Francisco who stepped forward to save hundreds of Vietnamese civilians. Elizabeth Cook has their remarkable story.
North of San Francisco, overlooking Tamales Bay, these women gathered to remember.
And we shared an adventure together that we'll never forget.
Their names, Sue, Pamela, Laura Lee, and Cha. It was April of 1975. They were all stewardesses for Pan Am Airways, and they all volunteered for an extremely dangerous mission.
There wasn't any question we were going to go in and do what we could that could help.
Thousands of people were roaming Da Nang airfield.
6 days before the fall of Saigon, the situation was chaotic. The FAA banned all commercial flights in and out of Vietnam. But Pan Am got special permission for one final journey.
In the middle of the night, Pan Ops called me and asked me if I would volunteer to go in to Saigon on a rescue mission. And I said yes.
The goal? To evacuate Pan Am's Vietnamese employees and families.
They were working for an American company. I believe their lives would have all been in danger if they'd stayed.
The crew was willing to cram even more on board, including Cha's 4 teenage sisters.
My sisters, of course, is so scared.
On the flight, extra uniforms and wigs. The plan? To dress each sister as a Pan Am stewardess. Then, one by one, the disguised teens drove out to the plane, passing soldiers armed with machine guns.
Without my help, I don't think they had the way of getting out of the country.
They boarded nearly 100 more passengers than the plane could seat.
It was packed, every inch.
When the jumbo jet took off,
there was gunfire that we could hear. We knew that the airport was surrounded. We knew that. What I recall was the deafening silence.
People were crying. We were crying. We were sad that they had to leave that way.
All credit their pilot, the late Captain Bob Berg, as being the real hero.
He told us when we got on the ground that he would not leave anyone behind, that he would turn the red flashing light on, and that meant get back to the airplane as quickly as possible.
Such a treasure and such a man filled with humility and bravery and courage.
Qualities shared by these women today and 50 years ago on a flight to freedom.
The Pan Am Historical Museum in New York just held an event bringing together adoptees evacuated from Saigon with all of those who made those life-saving missions possible. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, and East Bay City's cash-strapped public schools need major tech support. How students are stepping up to help and earning a little more than extra credit.
It's satisfying knowing that I have the skills and capabilities to just do this.
Plus, it is one of the major challenges for electric car drivers finding places to charge up. Now, one East Bay City is bringing the stations to the streets. I'll show you the first of its kind, curbside charging. I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. A 7-Eleven store in Oakland was robbed for a second day in a row. Happened around midnight at Grand Avenue and Mendana Boulevard. The clerk tells us thieves smashed open the door and hit him, demanding money. The same store had its window rammed overnight yesterday. The son of former Golden State Warrior Gilbert Arenas is in stable condition after his cyber truck slammed into a tree in L.A. The crash happened early yesterday morning. 18-year-old Elijah Arenas is a basketball star recruit. He has come out of his induced coma. And today was the last day for the public to pay respects to Pope Francis before his funeral tomorrow morning. The Vatican says 250,000 mourners came to St. Peter's Basilica over the last 3 days. President Trump, the First Lady, and former President Biden head to Rome today. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, we're gearing up for a cool and cloudy weekend all throughout the Bay Area with daytime highs below average right now. I mean, we're down into the upper 50s and lower 60s, anywhere from Santa Rosa all the way over into Napa, off into the East Bay. And for our friends in the Santa Clara Valley, it's wild to think that, gosh, it was just 5 days ago we were talking about sunny skies and 80s. Just like our friends off in the East Bay. And now we're gearing up for a chilly, cool weekend right around the corner as this area of low pressure really has been influencing the forecast the past couple days. The system will continue to track inland as we head into this weekend, and it's going to do a couple things for us. It brings in gustier conditions, more clouds. It's also the reason why we're dealing with these chilly temperatures, and it works in a counterclockwise direction. You can see that with the precipitation that we're going to experience too as we dive into this weekend's forecast. Right around the corner, we're going to see on and off showers late tonight, early tomorrow morning, lingering into our Saturday afternoon forecast, changing the direction of the winds too. And at the same time, this is also going to bring in some snow to the Sierra, anywhere up to around 15 inches expected there. It clears up as we head into our Sunday forecast, which is partly cloudy skies at that point, gearing up for a warm week night right around the corner as we head into next Monday and Tuesday. But from now until next Monday and Tuesday, we can see anywhere up to around 1/4 inch of rain in areas like Fremont, Mountain View, all the way over into the Santa Clara Valley, with less impressive numbers all the way up into the North Bay too. Let's take a quick look at the next 7 days. Now we're gearing up for a cool weekend, a warm week right around the corner for the Bay. It's going to be a nice one for us as we head into next Monday and Tuesday with upper 60s and lower 70s around the corner. Now you make your way over into our inland spots, even warmer conditions, upper 70s as early as next Monday with sunny skies. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. And then as we head into next Tuesday and Wednesday, we're expecting 80s right around the corner. Back to you.
Thanks, Jessica. In a district facing major budget problems, some tech-savvy students are using their skills to be part of the solution. A West Oakland high school found a unique way to fix thousands of school-issued laptops all on the fritz. Our Itai Hodge shows us how they are bringing them back to life while saving big bucks.
At McClymonds High in West Oakland, most students work on their laptops. David Anderson's work is his laptop.
See how it's kind of blurry and stuff? That means it's either the bezel or the camera's broken.
David is part of a program called the Tech Repair Hub. Sounds official until you realize it's run by teenagers armed with tiny screwdrivers and a mountain of busted Chromebooks. No Genius Bar, no waiting room, just sticky notes that read broken display and missing hinge thing. And students who somehow know exactly where to begin. Take Gavin Armstrong. A year ago, he was just using a school laptop. Now, he's the reason why everyone else's still works.
It's satisfying knowing that I have the skills and capabilities to just do this.
It all started in 2021 when the pandemic pushed classes online and school laptops to their breaking point.
Slide it in.
With no budget for repairs, the district did something unorthodox. They handed the tools to the students. It was a long shot, but it clicked. And it's not just extra credit. Students here earn $18 an hour. Samantha Nunez, who oversees the program, says in the last school year alone, these students have fixed close to 1,000 computers, saving the district more than $200,000.
Were there any worries that kids might not be able to do it?
Yeah, there was definitely worries and concerns, like, do they have the capacity to fix it, right? And turns out they do.
There's so much technology waste.
Colleen Piper, the school's college and career counselor, says other districts are now calling from across the country. But the biggest impact, she says, can't be measured in numbers.
Learning, honestly, I mean, just the responsibility of holding down a job, communication skills.
As for David, he's now eyeing a career in computer science.
Is it fun to take something apart and figure it out?
Yeah, it gets your mind thinking like different possibilities and like ways you can figure out how to fix something.
And while the job was to repair computers, along the way, they found something else worth rebooting, their own potential.
Well, during summer break, the Tech Repair Hub employs 15 interns who work 30 hours a week. And as the school district faces budget woes, an East Bay comedian is making $1 million donation thanks to a big win on Celebrity Jeopardy.
It's not a check, but I'd like to present Principal Blatcher. You've been funded. You've been funded. You've been funded.
Yeah, stand-up comedian W. Kamau Bell was at Castlemont High yesterday announcing that he is giving his winnings to help teachers pay for supplies and whatever else they might need for their classroom.
I live in these streets. I vote here. I do things here. I got 3 kids around here. And I'm also proudly a resident of Oakland, California.
Bell donated his winnings to Donors Choose, which is like GoFundMe, but just for educators. Well, curbside charging is hitting San Francisco sidewalks. The city just installed 2 curbside EV chargers on Fillmore Street, that's in the Lower Haight, with plans to install hundreds more. Users can sign up, get their own cord, and power up from the curb. We're told there's no cost to the property owners providing the electricity, and owners can expect to share revenue with the charging company. Our Lauren Toms hit the pavement to see this new chapter of city tech in action.
San Francisco is plugging into the next wave of EV charging by taking it to the streets. For electrician John Doherty, the push towards the future holds a connection to the past.
Senses it's very exciting because it's something new. It's a new application of the work that we do. And in other ways, it's just carrying on the tradition that we've done for 130 years here in San Francisco.
He's part of the IBEW Local 6 Electricians Union, which has helped electrify the city long before EVs or self-driving cars roamed the streets. Back to cable cars and the first muni buses. Now they're wiring up a new electrical era right outside their building walls, one parking space at a time.
It's an important part of our industry. It's growing sector. As we move away from fossil fuels to clean transportation, whether it's cars or any other thing that's going to get charged for mobility.
The city partnered with Brooklyn-based company It's Electric to plug in the new feature. To power up, users register with the company, get their own cord, and connect to the chargers. The electricity comes from nearby residential or commercial power lines with spare electrical capacity without added cost to the building owner. Each space also comes with a sign reserving it for electric vehicle use only, but it's unclear how SFMTA will enforce the space restrictions. It's Electric co-founder Tia Gordon tells us San Francisco leads the charge in adoption of electric vehicles, but it's behind on infrastructure to support them.
We wanted to create that same gold standard that everyone who has a garage to be able to go home and plug in their car and wake up to a full battery in the morning. We wanted to give that to everyone, and that includes people that park on the street.
But not everyone sees this as a green light. Sustainable transportation advocate Luke Bornheimer worries that while EVs may be cleaner, they're still cars, and more cars could mean more danger for cyclists and pedestrians.
All of a sudden, it won't just be about preserving on-street car storage for people who want to store their cars on the street, but it'll also be that now we have these electric car chargers on the sidewalk as well. And so now these are actually going to get in the way of, say, a protected bike lane that people might want. But now all of a sudden the city is going to have sunk cost in an electric car charger that they put on the sidewalk.
Just last week, SFMTA approved its first ever permit for curbside charging, opening the doors for more private buildings to apply. It also marks one step closer to the city's goal of having at least 25% of private cars on city roads to be electric by 2030 and 100% by 2040. Joseph Piasecki of San Francisco's Environmental Department says it's part of the city's push towards becoming a global climate hub.
This curbside pilot is going to help supplement that level 2 charging. It's meant to be able to park, charge whether it's overnight, get a small charge, be able to get on your way.
And for John, the job is more about wires and voltage. It's a legacy and a chance to continue powering the city he calls home.
Well, the chargers are level 2 chargers, which the company says is healthier for car battery life. Charging can take 6 to 8 hours for a full charge and cost the user $1 to $5 per hour. Coming up next, another major retailer getting ready to say goodbye to San Francisco. We're going to hear from the real estate experts who say the situation in the city may not actually be as bad as it seems.
Our challenge is getting people here. When we do that, the city sells itself.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
It's cool and cloudy as we head into this weekend's forecast, with showers on and off starting late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and kind of lingering into our Sunday forecast too. At that point, this area of low pressure is going to keep us nice and cool, sitting in the low 60s this weekend throughout the Bay. We're also seeing a very similar forecast for our friends in our inland spots. But right around the corner, we're going to warm right back up into the upper 70s as early as Monday, with sunny skies once that system passes through. We're seeing dry skies into next week, with warmer weather up into the 80s as early as next Wednesday.
Well, Union Square in San Francisco used to be the place to shop in the city, but for several years now, we've seen a lot of vacancy signs, and more are coming. Saks Fifth Avenue, the latest retail brand to abandon ship, following in the footsteps of Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, and Macy's. So how do you lure businesses in when so many are heading out? Our Andrea Nakano spoke with real estate experts who say things might not be as grim as they seem.
Union Square is highly desirably globally for retail tenants, and that remains.
Alex Segues is the Senior Vice President of Retail Leasing for CBRE. He says while we hear major retailers closing stores downtown, there's actually been positive growth in the past year.
More space is getting occupied than is becoming vacant in general. And but we have a long ways to go. You look at the combined square footage of Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Nordstrom, Saks. That's a lot of square footage.
According to the Bay Area Council Economic Institute, San Francisco is nowhere near pre-pandemic levels, but vacancy has gone down year after year. Executive Director Jeff Belisario says San Francisco is almost like a blank canvas, and several factors will determine how quickly it will bounce back.
The story now is we have a lot of empty space. How do we create the policies and the financial incentives maybe around companies coming in? Or, do we just wait for the market to eventually correct itself? That's a longer time frame, but eventually it will.
Policies include basics such as creating safe and clean streets to rezoning some buildings for housing. Belisario also believes it's important to bring in a university presence where people stay and spend every day of the week, not just for the short term, but for the future of the city.
We also don't want to be sitting here again in the next real estate downturn and saying like tech and AI all left the city, right? And we were heavily relying on them. We want to be saying, yes, we ran into an economic speed bump, but we had enough different uses built in where the city didn't empty out.
As retailers are breaking away from the traditional brick and mortar stores, real estate agents are forced to be more creative about filling huge vacant buildings.
Each building is kind of highly nuanced in terms of what you can do. And so owners of buildings are looking at all of the options. And you see as a general trend in retail and placemaking that you don't necessarily want just one use. Office, retail, hospitality or hotels, even medical, they can be, really synergistic.
Experts say the biggest key to bringing back downtown San Francisco is to change the perception of the city. Segues says many clients from Asia and Europe have heard all the bad stuff, but he's saying the perception is starting to change.
When we can get them to San Francisco, that changes. San Francisco is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. In my opinion, the most beautiful, the best city in the world. And our challenge is getting people here. When we do that, the city sells itself.
Union Square, of course, has seen its share of challenges like the pandemic and crime, including retail theft and the shooting of 49er Ricky Pearsall. Speaking of the 49ers, they entered day 2 of the NFL draft with 3 draft picks today. Yesterday, the Red and Gold added another Bulldog to the team. They selected edge rusher Michael Williams with the 11th pick in the first round. 20-year-old player from Georgia set to bolster the Niners' defensive line. 49ers have a total of 10 picks, tied for the most in this year's draft. Now to the Warriors. They are taking on the Houston Rockets tomorrow at Chase Center. Game 3 in the first round of the playoffs. And the status of Jimmy Butler still up in the air right now. He is being diagnosed with a deep glute bruise after falling in Game 2 of the series. The good news, no fractures or structural damage. Coming up, a warming planet putting greater pressure on animals and environments everywhere. How a popular hobby is now being threatened, and what can be done to save it for future generations.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah.
In today's Project Earth, California is one of the top fly fishing destinations in the nation, especially for wild trout. But as climate change warms up our rivers, the pressure has been growing on California's cold water fish. The phenomenon is impacting freshwater streams across the country, threatening a $100 billion industry. National environmental correspondent David Schechter shows us why.
This is the home of American fly fishing. This is ground zero right here. You're standing in it.
Brian Shepard is a guide on the historic Beaver Kill River in New York's Catskill Mountains.
We'll go ahead and step one in the water here.
And he's teaching me to fish, if that's even possible.
It's not really about the fish. It's actually about introducing people to a way that their life can improve. And we try to expose them to the magic of this place so that they'll save it.
Got something.
Yep.
Oh, shoot.
That was a fish.
That was a fish.
But rivers everywhere are in trouble. Recent research found 87% of rivers studied across the U.S. and Europe are warming, with 70% losing oxygen.
What climate change does is it's starving the oxygen out of the water. It's raising the water temperature, and it's killing off trout. I don't know that I'll be doing this in 10 to 15 years from now.
Shepard is part of the $1.2 billion U.S. fly fishing industry, but warming water means fewer fish during peak tourism season.
You know, when they hit that mid to high 60 range, it becomes kind of fatal to the trout if you catch them. Nowadays, we're hitting that for 2 to 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place and a really interesting river.
Jeff Skelding, executive director of Friends of the Upper Delaware River, says fewer fish to catch hurt the local fishing tourism economy.
If you go to the museums around here, you'll see pictures of people catching hundreds and hundreds of brook trout out of these streams. That has changed. You're not going to do that anymore.
He says over generations, rivers here have lost flow because of sediment buildup and the construction of dams. That leads to stagnant water, which heats up in the sun, along with the fish in it.
The problems that these rivers are experiencing are not very different than we see in many, many other parts of the country.
To cool the river down, Skelding's nonprofit group is working to restore the flow, which will help more than just the fish.
All kinds of recreational activities increasingly are supporting the economies of these communities.
Hey, David, get that net.
Get that net.
This is a brown. Catskill brown.
Way to go.
Ooh, and look, he's feisty.
Yeah.
Little brown. Little guy, but he's nice, beautiful.
Another magic moment on the Beaver Kill. For Shepard, something worth protecting as the changing climate changes his industry.
Well, professional groups are calling for the fly fishing community to take steps to protect fisheries and support sustainable practices, including any effort to reduce your carbon footprint. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.